A very good morning to one and all. This is Ranjana and I welcome you to this video lecture of English Flamingo. Today I am going to start a new lesson, Chapter 6, Poets and Pancakes. This is being written by Ashok Mitran. So in this module, I will first start with the author, the theme of this chapter and the summary of this chapter. First of all, about the author. Ashok Mitran was a fabulous, famous Tamil writer and Sahitya Academy winner. He was one of the few writers who wrote fluently in both Tamil and English. In a career spanning over 6 decades, he wrote 8 novels, 20 novellas, and 100 of short stories on a wide range of issues. He spent the initial years of his career in the famous Gemini studios of Chennai, although he was entrusted with the clerical task of cutting and pasting newspaper articles. He learnt a lot about the functioning of Gemini studios, which he humorously depicted in his autobiographical book My Years with Boss. So, many of these had to be written by hand. Although he performed an insignificant function, he was the most well informed of all the members of Gemini family. The following chapter is an excerpt or a part from his books My Years with Boss. So it's a part from the chapter My Years with Boss. Now the theme of this story. Poets and Pancakes fondly remembers the glorious Gemini Studios, which was the hub of activity for all the people associated with films. It is a sarcastic and humorous depiction of the various people who visited the place. The extract is autobiographical in nature and subtly hints at the changes brought in by the passage of time. The author has used an easy and conversational style to sketch the humorous image of what went on at the studio. The entire extract is marked by subtle satire, a gorgeous undercurrent of humor, and an engrossing portrayal of people who thrive despite hardships. The story focuses on the many aspects of contemporary life and on human situation and tendencies. Now, the summary of this story. The story is based on the functioning of Gemini Studio during its years of glory. The title Poets and Pancakes refers to the poets who were script writers at the studio and to a brand of makeup pancake that was liberally used. The author's job in the studio was to cut newspaper clippings on various topics and maintain a file of the same. The author provides the reader with a glimpse of independent India in its infancy. The author here first talks about the makeup department and the hierarchy that existed within this department. While the chief makeup man dealt with the lead actors, his subordinates were entrusted with all the side actors. He makes fun of the trouble that the artists took to look ugly and the pain they underwent under the glare of the big light bulbs. Now, he talks about the office boy, who is actually a grown-up man of 40 years who once aspired to be a director but blames Subbu. Subbu was known as the number 2 in the studio for his current state of affairs. The author praises Kotha Mangalam Subbu, the number 2 in the Gemini studio. He is an all-rounder and very loyal to the boss. He is credited with the success of Gemini Studios. Now, another character that comes into focus at the studio is the legal advisor who wears western clothes among the rest of the khadi clad gentry. He tells about the manners in which the legal advisor ruins the career of a talented actress unwillingly. The author talks about the importance that Gemini Studio enjoyed in those days, as some of the most prominent poets of the country worked there. Moreover, he talks about the impact foreign drama had on the art directors of Gemini Studios. When Frank Buckman's Moral Rearmament Army performed at the Gemini Studio, it greatly impressed the Tamil drama community, who emulated their style of drama in several movies. Gemini Studio was one of the few in Madras to host foreign visitors, and poets like Stephen Spender delivered lectures over there. At that time, in India, the educated folk took pride in showing their support for communism, and Gemini Studio was no exception. So what we got from this lesson is that it's a story based on the functioning of the Gemini Studio during its years of glory. There was a man named Ashok Mitran who worked at the Gemini Studio, who is also the writer of this story. He cut newspaper clippings, he had many pieces written by hand, and he was a well-performed writer. Then what is Pancake here? Pancake is the brand name of makeup material. So it's a studio. That studio also has the makeup room. Its makeup room has lights at all angles, large mirrors, and it has also incandescent light. The department was first headed by Bengali, and then it was succeeded by a Maharashtrian, assisted by a Andhra, a Madras Indian Christian, and then Anglo-Burmese, and then local Tamils. Now, what are the makeup duties there? The makeup duties was that the chief actor were the chief makeup man. The senior assistant were the second hero or heroine. Junior assistant are the main comedians, and office boy are the crowds. Now the boy. Who was the boy? The man in early 40s wished to become a star writer, director or lyrics writer. So Ashok Mitran here mentioned about a boy. That boy was a 40-year boy who wished to become a star writer, a director or a lyrics writer, but he couldn't become. Then there is number 2 character. So here Ashok Mitran has mentioned many characters. One of the characters are the boy. The second one is Subbu. Who is Subbu then? His full name is Kotha Mangalam Subbu. He was a Brahmin. He was number 2 in that studio. He was a writer, creative poet, actor. He extended warmth and hospitality to relatives and acquaintances. He was cheerful. He had alternatives for unsatisfactory situations. He was loyal, helpful, servile towards his boss. That's why he was very favorite of his boss. Now the lawyer. The next character the Ashok Mitran mentions about is the lawyer. The lawyer was the legal advisor. He was lonely, unpopular, unwittingly ended the talent of an actress. What actress? That actress was moody, has an moody outburst of something recorded, and then he played by him. So one day what happened, an actress was not in a good mood, and she just outburst something, and then he recorded and played at the front of everyone. And then he lost his job when the story department closed. And then the poets at Gemini Studio, because this story is all about poets and pancakes. So who are the poets? Gemini Studio were the place which gathered lots of poets who wore khadi. They admire Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. They also dislike communism. Then the studio hosted a program. That program was known as Moral Rearmament Army. Short form is that MRA. And that was, what was that program, what was that function? It was a counter movement to communism that time. 200 people of at least 20 nationalities visited Gemini Studios. They staged Jotham Valley and The Forgotten Factor. 600 people saw it again and again. That was very popular shows. The show's name was Jotham Valley and The Forgotten Factor. And 600 people saw that play again and again. Now the poets visit a mystery. There at the time in Chennai, in Gemini Studio, a poet visited that studio, but that remained a mystery. Who was that poet? That poet name was Stephen Spender. He was the editor of the Encounter. He was a British poet and he was very popular that time. He spoke that accent in that studio, in English accent, and that accent was not understood by anyone. Everyone was so confused that whatever he has said, no one has understood. Now a discovery made by someone. Years later, the narrator of this chapter bought a book titled The God That Failed. That book has 6 essays by 6 famous writers. And in that famous writer, Stephen Spender was included. He was disappointed by communism there. Now, the narrator understood why Stephen Spender has visited them, or the Gemini Studio, because Gemini Studio had a group of people against communism. So, Stephen Spender has visited that, has said something in a different accent that nobody understood, and some year later in the book The God That Failed, the narrator of this chapter got to know why Stephen Spender visited that studio. Just he was against communism, and he wants to see how these men are against communism. Okay, that's all the summary of this chapter. I think you have understood the chapter. If there is any problem, you can ask me in the WhatsApp. Till now, keep reading, keep listening, and be safe. Thank you.